After 25 years, we finally get to see Shanks in a fight. We start One Piece chapter 1076 with the same situation we saw at the end of the last chapter. Luffy, Zoro, and Vegapunk Shaka facing off against the Seraphim, S-Bear, and S-Hawk. The first blow has reduced the area outside the control room to rubble. Rob Lucci and Kaku are left sitting at the Straw Hat's feet, still cuffed. Luffy and Zoro still seem skeptical of the assassin's offer to let them go free and join the fight. Zoro brings up the obvious point. If they let CP0 go free, they're not going to submit and let the Straw Hats imprison them again later. The only reason the two assassins are in cuffs right now is because of Stussy's betrayal. They aren't going to get another chance like that to capture these two. Kaku tries to play it cool by saying that the Cypher Pole pair will put the handcuffs back on without a fight as soon as they are no longer in danger. Even though they both have long noses, Kaku is nowhere near as good as Usopp at telling blatant lies. He looks like he's about to murder the Straw Hats as soon as they let him out. But it's still enough to convince Luffy. Straw Hat is always happy to trust people. But Zoro isn't as easy to fool, and he yells at Luffy that this is an obvious trick. Before they can figure out what to do, as Hawk makes his move. The Seraphim aren't going to wait for them to figure out what they're doing. The little angel darts forward and launches a spinning kick through the air. It's a bit weird for the Mihawk clone to ditch his sword, but it's pretty effective. One kick from S-Hawk creates a shockwave that sends the whole group flying. Luffy and Zoro are able to pull Lucci and Kaku out of the way, but it's close. Zoro is shocked as he looks at his opponent. The reason Tiny Mihawk went for that big kick was because he was able to turn his whole leg into a sword. S-Hawk is able to use the powers of the Super Supanomi, the dough fruit of Da's bones, Mr. 1 from Baroque Works. The green blood Vegapunk made to copy Paramecia type powers has turned out to be very useful. So far, every blood sample that Vegapunk has used for the dough fruit powers of the Seraphim has come from Impel Down. Even Hancock had to go through inspection there, which would have been a great time to get some of her blood. Most likely, if there are more Seraphim, they also have powers based off of prisoners there. S-Hawk is making good use of his ability by following up with a second powerful sword kick. Zoro is able to get Kaku out of the way a second time, but the CP0 agent makes a good point. If the Straw Hats have to keep saving the Cypher Pole duo, they can't actually fight the Seraphim. They're too busy getting them to safety to actually attack the two super weapons. There's no way to end a battle like this. Zoro can't argue with him. After two saves in rapid succession, even Zoro needs a second to catch his breath. Trying to move the discussion forward, Shaka asks the Cypher Pole agents a simple question. What was their mission here? Rob Lucci plainly says that they were sent to kill all 7 Vegapunks. Kaku gets angry and snaps at him, telling his fellow assassin not to admit something like that. They're trying to be diplomatic here. Shaka, still calm, questions if they'll forgive Stussy for betraying them. The Vegapunk already knows the answer, and Lucci confirms that no, they're going to take down Stussy as well. They are not going to show mercy to a traitor. You can't fault the Leopard Man's honesty, even if this may not be the best time for it. As Kaku points out, it's almost like Lucci's trying to convince the Straw Hats not to save them. Before the group can say anything else, they hear a loud scream coming from somewhere else in the lab. Zoro can recognize the voice. That's Nami. After what happened in the last chapter, S-Snake probably hasn't moved. So Nami, Brook, and Edison are fighting the Jinbei Seraphim, S-Shark. They have no cameras, and the group is split up. It'll be hard for Luffy and Zoro to keep the crew, the 7 Vegapunks, and CP0 safe. They need to even the odds. Luffy asks Shaka for the handcuff keys. Shaka's still unsure, but he throws them to Luffy regardless. He trusts Straw Hat to make this decision, insisting they protect the Stella body no matter what. And before Luffy lets the pair go, he has a plan. He asks the Cypher Pole agents a simple question. He wonders if they'll go after his crew and the Vegapunks when the Seraphim have been defeated and they realize that he's too strong for them to win against. Zoro doesn't see this idea working for a second. Luffy's basically just taunting the two, claiming there's no way they could kill him, so don't try and kill anyone else. But Lucci makes it clear that Luffy is the #1 target on his hit list. He won't go out of order and will only go after the others once he's defeated Luffy. It's strange to see Rob Lucci snap like that. Then again, after the last fight with Luffy, it's understandable that Lucci is still very angry. Lucci agrees with only trying to kill Luffy. That still leaves Kaku as a potential wildcard, but that's enough for now. S-Bear starts charging up in Ursa's shock, but now the newly formed team are ready for them. Lucci and Kaku's cuffs fall off just as S-Bear's blast destroys a large portion of the upper laboratory. It's a massive attack, but it wasn't enough. As the blast fades away, S-Bear sees Gear 4th Luffy coming right at him. Luffy takes a second to apologize to Bonnie. Even if she's not here, Luffy knows how she feels about the pacifistas. Even if they're clones, this is still her father. This isn't something he's happy about. Lucci is right behind Luffy, though not in his awakened form. After all, he just got the Sea Stone off of him. Both men go for a big attack on S-Bear. They combine Gomu Gomu no Kongun and Roku Ogon. It's a strong move, but Zoro and Kaku are up next. S-Hawk tries to get ready for the hit, but his two opponents are much faster. Zoro goes for his Rengoku Onigiri, while Kaku sticks with his Rankyaku Hakurai. Both pairs strike with perfect unison, and their blows land with earth-shattering force. As tough as S-Hawk and S-Bear are, they weren't ready for that. Each Seraphim is hit hard, breaking up what's left of the lab behind them. Are they down for the count? Have they been completely driven out of the area? The fight may be over already. It's 2-1 now, and the new model pacifistas are facing some of the strongest warriors in the new world. But instead of seeing the aftermath of this team up, we move to a secret chamber. It almost looks like it was made to lock people up. There are 2 round units that look like they were meant to hold something. The steps imply that this area is low, positioned beneath the rest of the laboratory. It may be a basement level. A groaning voice notes that they haven't had any food in over 2 months. A trembling hand tries to touch the reinforced glass, reaching weakly towards the outside world. And inside the room, we can see who is being held there. A bunch of Cyberpol agents. Agents of CP5, CP7, and CP8. They're all looking in rough shape, lying down and trying to conserve their energy. One of the agents wonders aloud if they're going to die down here. They don't understand what's going on. Sitting up, a Cyberpol man tries to outline how this started. 2 months back, after they had inspected Egghead, they were going to sail away. But then they were attacked by the same weaponized sea monsters that the Straw Hats saw. After the cyborg animals wrecked their boat, they were brought to this location. The same thing happened every time another Cyberpol ship was sent to look into the situation. This pattern kept repeating itself. It's clear that these agents are the disappearances Rob Lucci asked the Vegapunks about. The punks weren't lying about that, or at least most of them. Like with the Seraphim, it seems that someone was giving secret orders to the sea monsters. The agent had his own suspicions, but they were wrong. He's been talking to a familiar looking person who is locked up in a huge glass container. He's sorry to his new friend. Imprisoned here with the Cyberpol agents is Dr. Vegapunk Stella, and he's not doing so well. He's been handcuffed to the floor, and it looks like he took a hard blow to the side of his face. It's still covered in blood. Still, Stella seems calm about it, apologizing to the Cyberpol agent. He's still surprised at all this happening on Egghead under his nose. And he should be. As Shaka said, everything on Egghead is supposed to be on his monitor. This is a massive blind spot. Stella takes a second to think back. Something very strange is going on here. And for the first time, he lets us know where this likely started. The Vegapunks had been researching the poneglyphs too. Somehow this leaked to the world government, but he has no idea what could have led to this. Who would have revealed this to the Gorosei? We have a few pieces of the puzzle here. Someone leaked the poneglyph research to the world government. The world government sent Cyberpol to investigate. The mysterious leaker ordered the Seabees to imprison the inspectors after they left. This was to keep the world government suspicious while the Vegapunks remained oblivious. Then the world government would be faced to send out their best agents, CP0. Has this entire arc been one big scheme from this traitor? Why? Before that's revealed, we pan out to a wider shot of Egghead. And while we can't see them yet, we hear a naval transmission. They've deployed from G9 now. The voice of the Den Den Mushi is getting hyped up about this. They've got a fleet of over 100 ships heading for Egghead right now. That's a full-blown armada. Getting out of here is going to be outright insane at this point. Will the Straw Hats be able to leave before Kizaru's ships show up? Or will they have to escape past a naval blockade? Either way, this is where we leave Egghead this chapter. Because it is time for us to head over to a bar at a small port on a certain island in the New World. And it feels like we've gone back in time to the beginning of One Piece. A small child is asking a bold pirate captain to take him out to sea. The captain, draining a bottle dry, writes this off. Don't be dumb. There's no way I'd bring a hot-headed kid like you. The young would-be pirate slumps against the bar, dispirited. The bartender takes a second's pause from cleaning her glass to talk to the kid. She's not mad, but suggests he gives this up. If he keeps insisting on joining this one guy's crew, he's going to make all the other pirate captains jealous. But the kid sticks with his choice. This one guy is who he looks up to. He doesn't want to join any random crew. Before he can try and argue with the captain though, one of his crewmates storms into the bar. He yells that someone's attacking them. So far, it doesn't sound like anything bad has happened. This newcomer is just fighting with his younger recruits, but the fight is still going on. If they don't do something, it could turn into a full-on battle soon. The captain takes a second to finish his drink before sighing. He's not sure if this is good or bad timing. They were about to set off anyway. They could have avoided this if they had gone a few days earlier. Still, they would have had this fight eventually. At least now, they can get it out of the way. And getting to his feet, it's made clear that yes, this mysterious captain is red-haired Shanks. This whole thing with the kid wanting to join his crew must have been really nostalgic for the Yonko. Shanks realizes that he must have lost track of time catching up with everyone. Still, he's not worried about it. He's met some old friends that he thought were dead. There's nothing wrong with taking some time to catch up with comrades. Shanks' crew is ready to join him. The red-hair pirates are all in a good mood because their boss has been drinking with them to celebrate. Yasopp looks downright hyped for the coming confrontation. Then Beckman smirks, puffing on his cigarette. The first mate points out that the enemy won't be happy that their captain was hanging out in a bar and making them wait. Lucky Rokes laughs, noting that Shanks isn't the only one they're going to be mad at. Directing this towards Ben. The little kid is excited by the idea of Shanks heading out to take on these attackers. Like us, he'll get a chance to see his hero in action. Shanks makes it clear that he won't let this place turn into a war zone. That's why he'll fight this enemy at sea. This is such a noble thing to say that it makes a bartender swoon. Before he steps out though, Shanks turns to his two old friends. The ones he assumed were long dead and tower over the room. Hey Dory, Brogy, can you lend me a hand? The giant pirates laugh, happy to agree. They aren't the type to back down from a fight. Behind Shanks, the two leave the bar with a few of their friends and the kid cheering them on. And it's made clear that this is Elbaf, land of the giants. That kid is actually taller than Shanks. This is a land of legendary warriors, and Shanks has earned their respect, as you would expect from one of the 4 emperors of the sea. That isn't Big Mom. The captain asks Rockstars to take a message to the attacker. Use this kid. Shanks has a simple ultimatum for the kid pirates. Kid can surrender his poneglyph recordings and move along, or he can risk going head to head with a Yonko. And this time, he doesn't have law to back him up. Clearly, Shanks is still serious about going after the One Piece. We go from there to the open sea. The Victoria Punk is still en route to Elbaf, but the red-hair pirates aren't going to make it easy. One of the kid pirates says that all the ships on the horizon, even the ones that are still trying to catch up to the main battle line, are on Shanks' side. They're facing every ally Shanks has, not just one cool ship. Each one of these crews seems like a big deal, and they're all sworn to help the Yonko in a fight. Kid puts a hand on his metal arm, scowling. Hearing long odds doesn't improve his mood. Killer reminds them that the last time they were in a fight like this, they didn't do so well. They didn't even get to see Shanks before Kid lost his arm, which is interesting. With what Lucky said back at the bar, was it Ben Beckman that took Kid's arm? Back at the port, the allies of Shanks' crew are celebrating Redhair's arrival. 2 women try to hug him as a Yonko strolls towards his ship. Some of the younger pirates are excited in the background because they get to see a living legend. If the kid pirates try to fight Shanks here, they won't get off easy. If Kid and his crew want to fight again, the red-hair pirates won't settle for an arm this time. They'll take his life. But Kid isn't worried. He's still on a high and has one simple solution to the risk of this fight: winning. If he worries about the fight, he's already doomed. Shanks' mastery of Conqueror's Haki is enough to drive off a Marine Admiral after all. He's good at using intimidation to get his foes on the back foot right out of the gate. The only way for Kid to have an actual chance in this fight is to believe he can win. And right now, Kid's feeling it. He's grinning like he doesn't have a care in the world. Even against a legendary opponent, he plans to win. So there's no talking this one out. The fight is coming. After over a quarter of a century, we'll finally be able to see Shanks fight in One Piece. Even before Egghead ends, we're laying the groundwork for the Elbaf arc. No matter what happens in this rematch between Kid and Shanks, Luffy and his crew will have to deal with the fallout. As always, I'm Slice of Otaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.